A world without money. For as long as we can remember, money has been at the heart of human civilization. From seashells and silver coins to paper bills and digital transactions, money has served as the universal medium of exchange, shaping society's economies and even personal identities. But what if one day, money simply ceased to exist? What if we lived in a world without currency, where no one used coins, bills, or bank accounts? The idea may sound like utopia to some and chaos to others. But exploring such a scenario opens the door to fascinating questions about human nature, cooperation, and the way societies function. To understand a world without money, we must first reflect on why money exists at all. Before currency, humans relied on barter systems, exchanging goods and services directly. A farmer might trade wheat for a fisherman's catch, or a craftsman might exchange tools for clothing. While barter worked on a small scale, it became inefficient as societies grew. Money solved this problem by providing a common measure of value, making it possible to trade easily across communities and store wealth for the future. Without money, societies would have to find other ways to organize exchange and cooperation. One possibility is that a world without money could operate on pure barter once again. People would directly trade goods and services, matching their needs with what others could offer. But barter has the limitations. It requires a double coincidence of wants, meaning both sides must want what the other has. In large societies, this becomes cumbersome. Imagine trying to trade a loaf of bread for a smartphone, or offering gardening skills for medical surgery. The scale and complexity of modern life would make pure barter nearly impossible. Another possibility is that humanity would adopt a system based on sharing and resource distribution. Instead of buying food at a store, people might access community kitchens or collective farms. Housing could be distributed based on need, not income. Tools, cars, and technology could be shared through cooperatives rather than owned individually. This vision resembles a gift economy where resources circulate freely, sustained by trust, reciprocity, and community obligation. Such systems already exist in small forms today, from open source software to community gardens, hinting at how life without money might function. Technology could also play a role in managing a moneyless world. Artificial intelligence and advanced logistics could track resources, production, and consumption on a global scale. Instead of prices, algorithms could match supply and demand, ensuring that goods are distributed efficiently. Imagine ordering food, clothing, or medicine, not with money, but with a request to a system that allocates resources automatically. Factories and farms could be automated, producing abundance with minimal human labor. In such a future, money might become unnecessary because scarcity itself would be eliminated. Of course, eliminating money would not eliminate human desires, ambitions, or conflicts. A world without currency would still have to answer critical questions. Who gets access to scarce resources? How are responsibilities divided? Who decides who receives more or less of what they want? Without money, societies might turn to reputation, trust, or social credits as forms of value. People might trade based on honor, status, or contribution to the community. In some ways, this could be fairer, but it could also lead to new hierarchies and inequalities, just in different forms. Supporters of a world without money often imagine it as a more just and compassionate society. Without financial pressure, people could focus on passions, creativity, and community instead of chasing wealth. Education, healthcare, and housing could be provided freely, ensuring that no one is left behind. The stress of debt, bills, and survival would disappear, replaced by cooperation and shared purpose. Many imagine that without money, greed and corruption would vanish, leading to a more harmonious world. But skeptics point out that money is not the root of greed, it is only a tool. Even in a moneyless world, people might still compete for power, attention, or influence. Conflicts over resources, jealousy, and ambition would not vanish simply because currency did. Money often acts as a clear, organized system for value exchange. Without it, new systems would arise, and they might not necessarily be better. Human nature would still shape them, with all its virtues and flaws. A world without money would also radically change work. Today, much of human activity is motivated by earning a living without paychecks What would drive people to work in difficult or unpleasant jobs? Some argue that automation could replace many of these tasks, but until then, society would need another way to ensure essential roles are filled. Perhaps people would contribute out of duty, community responsibility, or pride. Others imagine a rotation system where everyone shares burdens equally. Without financial incentives, motivation would shift to social bonds, creativity, and meaning. Culturally, the disappearance of money would transform how people see success and status. Today, wealth is often a measure of achievement. Without money, status might be defined by knowledge, creativity, contribution, or kindness. The pursuit of luxury goods would fade, replaced by the pursuit of personal growth or collective well-being. Advertising, as we know it, would vanish, as there would be no products to sell for profit. Entire industries built on finance, banking, and consumerism would disappear, replaced by systems focused on distribution and sustainability. Cities themselves might look different in a moneyless world. There would be no commercial districts full of banks and stock exchanges, no luxury shops catering to the wealthy. Instead, spaces might be designed around community needs gardens, meeting halls, libraries, and cooperative workshops. Housing would not be stratified by wealth. People might live in dwellings suited to family size or community roles rather than income. Transportation systems could be fully public and free, designed for accessibility rather than profit. The very structure of urban life would shift from commerce to cooperation. One of the greatest benefits of a world without money could be the liberation of human potential. Freed from financial struggle, people could dedicate themselves to science, art, exploration, and innovation. Imagine the discoveries that could emerge if no one had to worry about rent or bills. Education could be lifelong and universal. Medicine could focus entirely on health rather than profit. Art could flourish without the pressure of market demand. Human creativity might expand in ways we can scarcely imagine. Yet there are real dangers as well. Without money, black markets or underground systems of exchange could emerge. People might create alternative currencies using rare items, technology, or even favors as substitutes. Power could concentrate in the hands of those who control resources, just as wealth concentrates today. A moneyless society might simply replace dollar bills with new forms of currency, whether measured in reputation, digital credits, or access to information. Philosophically, the idea of a world without money challenges our deepest assumptions about value. Is worth something objective or subjective? Can effort, talent, or care be measured without currency? In a moneyless society, value might be defined by relationships, experiences, or contributions to the greater good. It would be a shift from material wealth to social and spiritual wealth, redefining what it means to live a meaningful life. History offers glimpses of moneyless systems. Small tribes and early societies functioned without currency, relying on sharing, reciprocity, and communal responsibility. Monastic communities, utopian experiments, and even modern digital collectives have tried to live without money. While none are perfect, they show that alternatives are possible. Whether humanity could scale such systems to billions of people worldwide remains one of the greatest questions of all. In the end, imagining a world without money is less about predicting the future and more about examining the present. It forces us to ask why money has so much power, why inequality persists, and whether we could organize society differently. It challenges us to think beyond transactions and to imagine relationships based on trust, cooperation, and care. Would a world without money be paradise or chaos? The answer depends on human choices. If guided by compassion, technology, and shared purpose, it could be a society of abundance and equality. If guided by selfishness and power, it might simply create new forms of inequality. What is certain is that money is not eternal. It is a human invention, and like all inventions, it could one day be replaced. So when we ask what a world without money would look like, we are really asking what kind of world we want to build. One defined by competition and scarcity, or one defined by sharing and abundance. The choice, as always, is in our hands.